Hello and welcome to SATV's International Affairs Talk Show. I am Shamsul Alam Pantho and I will be hosting the program today. Before I give you the context of today's program, let me introduce to you our panelists for today. We have Mr. Ali Ahmed, who is a member customs at the National Board of Revenue, NBR. And alongside him, we have Mr. Shakhawat Khan, who has served as the former country head of Amnesty International in South Sudan, also a former UN High Official in the Horn of Africa. Gentlemen, thank you for coming here today.
Thank you.
Before I begin, I will give you a breaking news from over the weekend. Donald Trump's administration has threatened a tariff against the European Union. This includes a 50% tax on the European imports that would hit the continent hard, hurt the US economy, and also slow growth globally. This also includes the production of iPhones, which will now be charged much higher. Over the weekend, we also see the Trump administration ending Harvard's ability to enroll international students, which then a federal judge in Massachusetts on Friday blocked the Trump administration. My question first will go to Mr. Ali Ahmed. How do you define Donald Trump's push and pull strategies in regard to foreign policy? We know that Trump has proposed a reciprocal tariff earlier in the year. How do you see his leadership?
Well, he's too big for me to question his leadership, but then as Alice in Wonderland, in that book, famous book, Lewis Carroll said that a cat may also look at the king. So I can also criticize him, and very rightly so. He came with a lot of promises. One of the most important promises was lowering the prices of commodities and services, etc. But what he is proposing to do, and the budget has been passed the lower house, that is the House of, not House of Commons here, the lower house. Well, raising tariff on all. First of all, there is a 10% tariff irrespective of the country and goods or anything, which was zero in many cases in the past. And then at one stage it went up to 145% etc. with China, but now they said it will be lowered. But now they say, he has said it more often, that the European Union was created with a purpose to defeat and to relegate United States. And that is why he has declared it and wants to destroy it. So what he does, the latest version is that anything coming out of the European Union will be charged at 50% of duty. They call it tariff. Generally, tariff is actually a duty, whether customs or whether VAT or customs or import or export. Tariff is a duty here, customs duty. So that means, and the other says that if the others, if those tariff iPhone or other factories relocate in the US, then they will be exempted from these taxes. First of all, relocation. Relocation cannot be done overnight. It takes a long time, and he has hardly slightly more than 3 years and a half. So it's unlikely that he can ever see it. First of all, even if it is relocated, the other day some fellow was saying this, that nowadays no jotil, the complicated production process can be done in one factory, in one place, or even in one country. Even these cars that we use, the jeeps we use, we say made in Japan or made in England or America, the parts etc. are produced in different countries, and they are assembled in one country. That is the mark of production country. So even if this iPhone is taken over, supposing the manufacturers decide to shift it to the US, it will take more years than he will be in power. Second, it will still be required to import different kinds of parts from different parts of the world. So it cannot be totally in America. And then there would still be some taxes. And moreover, the labor charges in America at all levels is much higher than in China or elsewhere. So the price will go up. Right. So if the price goes up, the American public really pays the money that Donald Trump thinks he takes from China or he takes from others. So this is sort of living in a fool's paradise. What he is actually doing, in my opinion, I have not heard anyone saying this, but he has a commitment, like his own party, Republicans, has a commitment to favor the rich. He is cutting off direct taxes and trying to make up for it through taxes on indirect taxes like imports, exports and other taxes. So what happens is the price of things go up, still then the loss in the direct taxes will not be, most likely will not be made up through this. And when the price goes up, it means inflation that creates a lot of problem in the economy, and the world trade is severely hampered. So this is going to be a really very bad economics and bad idea of doing it. So I stay here and I can elucidate further if you need. So I think it makes no economic sense whatsoever in the present day to say that all things will be made in America. A fool's paradise is living, it seems.
Thank you, Mr. Ali Ahmed. Of course, I will add a complement question to our second panelist, Mr. Shakwat Khan. As I mentioned, Donald Trump has ended the ability of Harvard to enroll international students. This comes in as Hong Kong's education initiative in response to this US restriction on international students. The University of Science and Technology in Hong Kong is inviting affected students, including those of Harvard. How do you see this notion, and that Donald Trump is trying to almost practically create or manufacture everything in America? This definitely is a retaliatory move, us knowing that China being the #1 manufacturing house almost for all elements globally. Mr. Shakwat Khan.
Thank you. I do believe that Donald Trump himself is engaged with some sort of malpractice by dint of his presidential capacity. And in terms of global trade, whatever impunity, tariff and other taxes he has been putting on is ideally a kind of violation of WTO framework, if you really analyze it. So I think that he is a good trader from his personal trade and business perspective, but being a statement of the United States of the USA, which has been leading the global economy and trade commerce, his leadership should have more conceived and perceived through dialogue and discussion, the impunity that he has been putting on the university, the leading most reputable university in the USA, and then the students are moving towards other countries like Hong Kong. This is a very bad, I would say, omen. Education and research should not be restricted by saying that I stop it and you don't deliver this kind of research and this kind of services within the given time frame. You spend this much of money, but this is an autonomous body, they have already enough fund by themselves, and they got already a lot of fund through private donations, and this university can survive with government patron. So I think that Trump is a kind of man of honky bonky, I would say. He is not a very resolute person of giving the framework of understanding, global understanding of trade and commerce. Even if I go back to the issue of European Union, the tariff that he has been imposing, 50% tariff on European Union products. You know what could happen now? European Union was the beneficiary of USA, and now the EU will be enraged too much. It is true that there are a lot of trade gaps between the USA and European Union. EU exports almost $800 million worth of automobiles like Audi, then Volvo, Mercedes-Benz and other European cars, the branded cars. Most importantly, European long route trailers and trucks are the best in the world, and these cars are very important for their long route transport.
Yes.
And America only import from the European Union import from the America only 800 million, 8 million euro. That is the gap is 800 million, 775,000 million billion dollars. Sorry, billion. So these gaps, this $8 billion gaps, I think that it is very low. That is true, but it could be discussed earlier ahead, so that the impunity could not be very harsh on them. And now European Union is taking a retaliatory measure. You know what is happening. Netherlands produces the engine for the F-16 jet fighters,
Right.
and then other spare parts that Netherlands and European Union countries produces. They will try to divert their production line to other countries, and China will ultimately get the benefit out of it, because they are very cheap. China will look into the other trade options to the third world small countries, where they will have their own production line and slick into other source to get into the US market. So, Americans are not that much nationalist also. If you give a very cheap iPhone to an American person or American citizen, he will take the cheap one. He will not look into the made in America or others. It is not like us or other people.
Yes,
that
to the American consumer, they do not care of
no,
where
no,
it is being made.
they don't care about the made in or source
The
of
price and the quality of the goods.
They look into the lowest cost. If you give good fabrics $10, they will never buy $30 from Qatar or whoever it is. Qatar may be good friend of America. They might have given a $600 million aircraft as a gift to Donald Trump.
Of course,
it doesn't matter.
Last week. Yes,
It doesn't matter to the US citizen. They are working hard every day, and at the end of the day $120 they are earning out of Uber or whatever it is. They look for something cheap. So, Donald Trump is making his people very hardship in terms of consumer buying capacity. It will be very expensive for them, everything. Even
you.
Walmart and other products, the taxes will be very high. General public, those who used to buy 3 dresses every year from seasonal gap, they will buy one and go for the older one.
Thank you, Mr. Shakawat Khan. That was definitely a very
Thank you, sir.
Brief insight into how the American households will suffer in the coming days based on Donald Trump's policies. Now on toward another world pressing issue, we have the Ukraine and Russia conflict. Over the weekend, Kiev experienced a significant drone and missile strike, which resulted in 17 injuries. However, in a notable development, we see Russia and Ukraine, they have both conducted the largest prisoner exchange since the war's onset. It has been running for 3 years. However, this would be the first notion of both of the sides calling a truce. And as you know, such a transfer of prisoner exchange was discussed in Turkey early this month. My question to Mr. Ali Ahmed, how do you see this notion between Ukraine and Russia? Of course, Ukraine has lost most of its land to the Russian aggressive tactics.
Not most, some, not most, not yet. Their aim is to occupy the whole country, not to allow them in. But before that, if you kindly allow me, I want to put in one word about what he said.
Sure.
The students of Harvard, as you said, are invited in Hong Kong, and they are coming and will be coming. Hong Kong is also a part of China now. So, it will be self-defeating for Donald, driving his own students of his own universities to China, where he does not want anything good to happen.
No, I understand, sir. Let me just add, compliment just, sir.
Sure, please.
You see, education is a product. It's like iPhone. Smart students will get admitted over there. Now, they are refused by American, so they will go to other better universities in the world, since they are invited.
No, I have
so, is there a product line transfer from America to other better countries?
I have only complimented.
Yeah, thank you, sir. You are right.
They go to China.
You are very much correct.
Country they do not want to. Now, to your point.
Yes.
Yes, they say they call it truce. But last night, it showed also in the morning news and last night also. Last night they had a barrage of drones and ballistic missile attacks
Yes.
throughout the night. This morning shows that there was an exchange of drones and ballistic missiles between the two countries. Kremlin was hit, Moscow was hit rather, not Kremlin. Moscow was hit, so was Kyiv.
Right.
So it is, but they call it, well, sort of truce, but that is not there at all. And Donald Trump said that, well, truce will not happen till I talk to him. So he talked to him for 2 hours and more, and nothing has happened. I have a very lurking suspicion that Donald Trump, if you remember how Donald Trump treated Mr. Zelensky of Ukraine.
He bullied Zelensky at the Oval Office.
Yeah, bullied, and the what he said, you are 1/20th of the US of the Russian land. How dare you have a fight with them? But this fight was not begun by Zelensky or any of the presidents of Ukraine. America brought it when they were united. This border between Russia and Ukraine, a part of it was occupied by the Russians. And later when the division happened, they said it's ours. And the war was going on since 2014 until going. So that is the scenario. I am afraid what the Europeans are now doing, the coalition of the willing, and they are also preparing themselves to place between these two warring countries. I think that is the solution finally, or that is a barrier, because Donald Trump does not want the European Union to be as it is. As he has said, this was created to harm the USA. So the Europeans themselves will stand. Why? Because they know if Ukraine is taken today, Poland is taken tomorrow.
Yes.
And so on and so forth. So the Europeans, under the leadership of the Britain and France, they are already preparing, and their defense budgets are going very high now. So they are determined and decided that if they let Ukraine go, then all other countries also go in course of time. And that is what Putin wants, that old Russian Empire, and the Europeans will probably never let them happen, even if the war continues for decades, which is bad for the world. But I am afraid this may go on.
Thank you, Mr. Ali Ahmed. Very concerning, as we've seen Donald Trump bullying Zelensky a couple of months ago. In a similar notion, we've seen the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa's visit in the Oval Office. Even then, Donald Trump and his administration, although this time he was a bit more lenient, but we still see him openly playing out a video of an opposition party member calling for overthrowing Cyril Ramaphosa, and which he played in Parliament. I would like to go to Mr. Shakawat Khan. How do you see this issue? Donald Trump has made unfavorable in any war front. He is against all the war fronts in the world. As you know, he has called upon a ceasefire regarding the India-Pakistan tensions as well, and he has tried his level best in calling a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. How do you see this development?
I do believe that this is a kind of double standard role that he has been playing in the international relations, especially with the Ukraine and Russia. You know, Russian President Vladimir Putin has a great deal of domestic pressure for bringing some soldiers through PWS. These soldiers should be swapped due to the fact that Russian administration is under pressure. No matter what happened with the Ukraine, they will continue it. Putin wants that his domestic uprisal should be contained, number one. If I come back to Donald Trump and his behavior pattern, it is a kind of rogue, and he is not a good diplomatic leader at all. He is a trader, businessman, and he is a person who, from my personal perspective, I am a small man, I do believe that this kind of person should not lead a nation that should lead the entire world. Now, you know, South Africa is a very strong country.
Yes.
I have been to South Africa during the time of Nelson Mandela. They are very nationalist. Every single South African, especially Noreen, the foreign minister of South Africa, the lady, she is a very vocal person in favor of Palestine rights, because Nelson Mandela declared that if Palestine is not liberated, we are not liberated. So, this is a kind of anonymous you know, declaration from Nelson Mandela. So, this kind of behavior, I think that South Africa is not a very weak country in Africa. They are the leading African country, and they have influence on Mozambique and neighboring African countries, political, economic, whatever it is. They are the producer of most modern military hardware in Africa, including tanks and all these things. You might know through some history that South Africa is the first country that produced nuclear warhead first.
Yes.
But it was banned, whatever it is. So, they have high tech, you know, capacity also. Talk about the misbehavior that he also showed to other leaders, Zelensky, and this is a kind of attitudinal problem. A president's not a president's problem, it is very much personal. He thinks that this chair is something to do with personal, like our former ousted prime minister,
Yes.
Sheikh Hasina. She had some kind of attitude of thinking that this is my father's chair I inherited. So, Trump is not inherited, but he might have this kind of attitude that whatever I say, it does not matter, I am a kind of monarch. You see, you are talking about Pakistan and India issue from
Yes, we'll definitely get to the Pakistan.
another point that you raised, I forgot, I understand.
I was definitely talking about the Ukraine-Russia conflict. However, we see that South Africa had tried their level best into resetting ties with Donald Trump. Not only so, Donald Trump raised the issue of discrimination against white farmers, if you would like to call it.
Yeah.
Most definitely,
white genocide. He called it.
he called it a white genocide, right? Definitely, we know South Africa and the apartheid of during the Nelson Mandela times, when there was a genocidal act towards the black community over there. However, in recent times, this discussion, we've seen Donald Trump holding a stack of paper, calling it death in South Africa, death in South Africa, over and over again. This sets a new wave of conflicting messages between two global leaders.
No, let me explain
How do
to
you
you,
see
sir.
this?
Africana, the original white South African people who used to belong most of the lands, agricultural land of South Africa, after Soweto movement and the Zulu movement,
Right.
from KwaZulu Natal, these people lost their land. They were colonialist ideally in South Africa, and these are the people who vetoed every time from President Clark, Frederick D. Clark, you could remember,
Yes.
the former president, those time, who won Nobel Peace Prize with Nelson Mandela. They formulated united government. He was vice president, President Nelson Mandela was president. These people, these white guys influenced the government to vetoed 39 times against apartheid. You understand? So, they were ideally the victim of this apartheid, and their land was grabbed by this white Africana. So, if they take over their land again back, like Robert Mugabe,
Yes.
he declared in Zimbabwe that our people, our land. So, if that is the philosophy, I think that South African indigenous community has the right to take back their land. Whatever he is talking about during the process of the pre-occupation or reoccupation of the land, there could be some violence. That is true. Some tractors, the heavy agriculture equipment was grabbed, looted, it is a kind of I could say the symptom or prognosis, not necessarily the fact that it was intended for. So, South Africa, I think that still is a strong country, and whatever Donald Trump may take impunity or any kind of trade impunity he can impose on, but South Africa is very much independent. They are a self-reliant country. They have a strong tourism, agriculture, they have consumer market is very strong. So, I think that they do not bother about whether America do, but they have $13 billion export to the USA. That is one of the fear for their export and domestic production.
Thank you, Mr. Shakawat Khan. That was definitely important. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall be talking about the India-Pakistan tension and its developments in South Asia. Do stay with us as we head for a commercial break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SATV's International Affairs Talk Show. Before ending the show, before going into a break, we were talking about U.S. policy making and the Russia-Ukraine war. I will like to take everyone's attention towards the Israel-Palestine conflict. I have a breaking news with me, ladies and gentlemen. Outrage, horror after Israeli attack kills 9 children of a Gaza doctor who was reportedly treating people in Khan Yunis. As we know and see, this aggression towards Israel and Gaza, between Israel and Gaza, we see that almost it's unnecessary. Benjamin Netanyahu's policies were initially targeted towards Hamas, but however, he has gone on a killing spree of innocent women and children, which is most definitely denoted as a genocide. We know over the weekend, Piers Morgan, an American broadcaster, had finally agreed with Al Jazeera, or known as Mehdi Hassan, that this is Benjamin Netanyahu's genocidal act. The World Health Organization has said more than 70,000 children in Gaza face acute levels of malnutrition as Israel continues only to allow a minuscule amount of aid. In turn of events, we also see major Western nations like the EU, UK, Canada and France realizing this Israeli genocide and is trying to shift and arriving at or is on the verge of condemning Israel. My question to Mr. Ali Ahmed, how do you see this new shift between the Western nations, and would you call this a genocidal act in the world affair?
Well, genocide as it is defined in the international law is definitely is there. And you know, this Benjamin Netanyahu has been condemned and has been arrest warrant has been sent for him from the International Court of Justice and International Criminal Court. So there is no question of its being a genocide and a human inhuman act, human rights violations act. The problem is, one thing has to be noted: the creation of State of Israel openly came in the West through Balfour Declaration of 1914 or 2014. But anyway, Britain was the first country to start it, and then they went, and finally they were given it as a mandate after the World War, and the Jews started settling there. So, America, when it became the richest country, it took over as its sort of 51st state to launch as a launch pad against the entire Middle East and the rest of the world. So, that is why now this Labour government of Britain has recently come up with Britain, Canada and France openly siding with the Palestinians and declaring, declaring that if they told to Israel, if you do not behave, then we will be strict and then we will be taking action. And the first action has been they have dissociated themselves with some of the treaties with Israel.
Yes, the free trade agreement.
I was thinking, but they cannot so easily send warships or planes, etc. But they are very clearly, and Benjamin Netanyahu said in his response that you are on the wrong side of history. We have not heard anything from the UK or the France, but they are going on with their actions. And the other countries of the world. Yesterday I was listening to a Jewish talker in CNN. He said the overwhelming majority of the country, USA, are against this government, that is the present government and the Israeli government. But the president of the US is so badly mired in his debts. When capital was shifted from Jerusalem, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, he is told, it is for you too, the names I forget the Jewish names, that for you too that I have allowed this. The present president during his first term said this. So, it is a personal, and his daughter has been, his daughter has been married to a Jewish boy. So, they are also familiarly relations. So, he is doing all these things. This is absolutely inhuman and illegal and punishable offense. But who is going to punish Donald Trump now? Maybe after he goes out of this, he will face a barrage of litigations against him. But in the meanwhile, Israel of course is suffering so much. And why don't they leave the country to go to other places? They say we learned in 1948, by living here to the safety of the neighboring Arab countries, the others did never come back. So, even we have to die, we will die here in Palestine, in Gaza and all those things. So, they are determined. Let us see. I believe they are suffering tremendously. Almost the UN General, the Secretary General even said that this is the cruelest phase of a cruel war.
Yes. The latest development, Antonio Guterres of the UN
Guterres, I am talking
Council
about Guterres. He said this. So, it will affect, but they are suffering so badly. I wish, or we wish we could do something, but we can't do anything. But the whole world is against it. It came up for voting in the General Assembly. Only a few American lackeys of South America was in their favor. The rest of the world, including European countries, all and Asian countries, except Israel of course, and they all voted against Israel. But that is not enough, because they have to be stopped. This madman is supported by another madman in America. I don't know when it stops. It has to stop something.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. That was definitely a very descriptive breakdown. I will have a complement question to Mr. Khan. Over the weekend, we've seen an Arab-Israeli MP, a member of the Knesset in the Israeli parliament. We've seen him openly challenge and criticize Benjamin Netanyahu that there is no political win or political gain by having such a aggression towards innocent children and women. How do you see this worldwide issue?
You know, Benjamin Netanyahu himself is a very arrogant, I would say liar and tout type of personality.
Agreed.
He is not a very decent leader, whether it is Israel or we have seen Ehud Barak, Ariel Sharon. They are very precise and honest, speaking very quiet and nicely. But this man is a tout type of person, and he has a good military background.
He was in the American army.
He is the person who rescued some kidnapped Israeli from Entebbe, Uganda during the time of Idi Amin. So, this man has very commando background and he is very much relied on military intervention.
Yes.
And now Israeli leadership is not in the hand of Knesset or Israeli people themselves. It is in the hand of a small syndicate of Netanyahu followers who are moved or who are influenced by IDF, military elements.
Yes.
And America will not just leave Israel alone. They will somehow provide support with the military hardware and whatever he needs, because these Arab kings around Israel, they need to protect their kingship, because they are very happy with their lavish life.
Yes.
They will give any kind of support to the USA, and USA knows that they have almost $6 trillion business with the Middle East. So, they will USA, it is a resolute decision of United States foreign policy that Israel should be there to poke into everyone's nose, so that these Middle East monarchs are disturbed. They buy arms through their threat, and they pile up their military hardware, and America can sell it. So, this is a kind of artificial destabilization that is created by the USA in the Middle East through Israel. Now, what happened? Hamas was ideally funded by Netanyahu himself.
Yes, it was initially a creation of Hamas was a creation of Israel.
To counter,
Palestine Liberation,
the Liberation Front,
yes,
of Yasser Arafat. So, what happened when they were arming themselves slowly, there were a kind of perception that Hamas is very much organized and well equipped. They could attack sometimes in the borderline. So, Netanyahu had over estimation on his IDF and security intelligence, especially Mossad. Mossad failed. Mossad ultimately failed on August 7, if I am not wrong. So, when they
October 7.
October 7.
October 7, yes.
When they failed and intervened happened, the total pressure came on Netanyahu. Now, he is very much, it is a kind of revenge motive. Whatever it is, I have to destroy the entire Palestine and Gaza, especially Gaza Strip. I have to annihilate it. That is his one of the motto. It is ideally more than genocide. I have never seen such a genocide. I have worked 25 years with the United Nations in Africa. I witnessed 3 genocides, but this is the worst form of genocide ever I have seen. I have seen Rwanda, I have seen Sierra Leone, Somalia, Sudan, but Darfur. These are very small ethnic group that wanted to extinct or eliminate another group, but this is a kind of government funded genocide that are going to eliminate the entire race.
Thank you, Mr. Khan, for such a comment. Definitely, as the story progresses, I will be picking it up on the future shows. However, now we shall move into India-Pakistan tensions. Let me give you some of the context today. India criticized Pakistan at UN Security Council, and it condemned Pakistan actions in supporting terrorism and engaging in nuclear blackmail. And in return, the airspace closure extended amidst tension with India on the Pakistan side, and it has extended until June 24th, which is roughly about 30 days from today. This is, of course, following recent military tensions. Definitely, there was a breaking news that denial of entry to an Indigo flight facing turbulence. Definitely hope that that flight had landed safely. On other news, Pakistan is also fast-tracking their hydro projects following India's suspension of the water treaty. Engineers assured that the budget would include their demands. The International Monetary Fund is satisfied with these economic steps. The defense budget of Pakistan is to increase in the coming days, especially due to security concerns. In an interview with Al Jazeera, the spokesperson of the armed forces in Pakistan said Only, I said, and I quote, only a madman would think that India can stop Pakistan's waters, as it is impractical to cut off water for 240 million people. My question towards Mr. Ali Ahmed, you know that a ceasefire was mediated through American mediation. However, both sides had blamed one another of breaking such a ceasefire. And the blockade of such a water for 240 million people, how do you see this in the coming days? Will there be another fighting spree in the coming weeks?
Fighting, I believe, is a thing that neither of them really wants. That is my feeling. But then it may come often as it came. There was a spark this time. Actually, what happened is, you know, the Modi government, what they are doing, trying to penalize all those who do not agree with him. So, all the countries around that great India are now their enemies. That is not a very good thing to do. Bangladesh was, that is also now gone. So, this is not good. It was a treaty that was, we were school students, very in lower classes. It was reached during Ayub Khan and Nehru's time, this Indus Valley Treaty.
Yes.
And we even in school days said they are doing this, but what is being done for East Pakistan? In those days it was East Pakistan. Anyway, that has been held, that has held so long. It is a lifeline of Pakistan, and he has stopped it, the Indians, and they say why? Because you are supporting the terrorists. That is a very nebulous idea. Even if they do, what is the proof? And why do you say that? You cannot stop a treaty from working. So, that has not been a statesmanlike, or an international behavior has also not been good. And as you know, they are now trying to channel Sindh river waters through the province of Sindh, through a river. Of course, Sindhis, some of the Sindhis are against it because they feel their own land will be harmed and Sindh's own waters will go away to Balochistan and all those places. But that is a different thing. So, it cannot be done. I think another international mediation would be needed here.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. Most definitely. I'll complement another question to Mr. Khan. However, I'll give you some of the context. In recent times, we've seen Indian media outlets publishing or unnecessarily hyping about Bangladesh, and in Bangladesh internal issues. We of course know that Indian media is the world's greatest fake news producer. One issue over the last weekend was that Bangladesh interim chief advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus was expected to resign from his post, which we later found out that was undesired and not happening under any circumstances. Indian media outlet First Post, NDTV, has used the title that there were severe tensions between Chief Advisor Professor Yunus and the armed forces with General Waqaruzzaman. I would like both panelists to comment on this matter, but first going to Mr. Khan, how do you feel about Indian media countlessly interfering in Bangladesh internal policy matters? Is this an attack on our sovereignty?
Of course. You know what happened, BJP led Modi government, I would say, RSS, whatever it is. These are rumor mongers. Even when there was no problem in Bangladesh, they used to have this kind of propaganda against themselves, against BJP and you know, against Congress and Mamata Banerjee and others, other party, and they used to have some kind of propaganda against Muslim, eating beef, lynching people, and this was indeed a great deal of contribution from the media. So, these are chatterbox and rumor mongers politicians. Being a very big country around us, no neighbor is happy with them. Everybody is their enemy now. We had last resort after the expelled of Sheikh Hasina. She is now having good time over there. They have no negotiation skill at all from the international politics and foreign relations perspective. This is a very hawks and hollow country, I would say. They could have embarked on after the expelled or whatever it is overthrown of this fascist government. They could have embarked on a kind of more resolute and concrete relationship to go ahead with its good neighbor. You see, but very unfortunate that this kind of foreign policy that they have been in practice will ultimately lead to enmity, and mostly I could say that it will not bring any kind of neighborly good result for them. What happened in Bangladesh, we are victim of the propaganda and media, chatterbox, you can say, like many. These are funded, these are state funded and patroned by state. BJP government will never touch Moyuk or this Subharanjan or whoever it is. These are given kind of like before Hassan Mahmood, this guy called Kaua Kader, whatever it is. Sorry to use the slang.
Completely okay. Please be.
They were backed by leading Awami League, and Sheikh Hasina did never intervene with their foul talks. And since they have some BJP low level leaders, and these what can I do? It is not media, I would say. It is a big country with democratic practices. What kind of low level media box they could nourish, and
appalling.
Against, it is appalling, against a country, a small brotherly country, they could handle this very well. But I think that the foreign services and the foreign relation, they are in very low state of aptitude now at this moment.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Also towards Mr. Ahmed, you have any comments regarding the Indian media and untoward situation onto Bangladesh?
Well, as they say, give the devil his due. India claims to be a democratic country, and the media is supposed to be much more freer than it used to be in the erstwhile Bangladesh. So they can write whatever they want to, and it doesn't matter really. And we also need not be very upset by what they write. They wrote about, as you said, about the chief, our advisors resignation. Nothing has happened. So it doesn't matter. Falsehood proves itself. We need not be worried about what they write. Just ignore these falsehoods. That is my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. Many thanks to Mr. Ali Ahmed and Mr. Shakawat Khan for their deep insights and contribution to SATV's International Affairs Talk Show. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, today is 25th of May, which is celebrated as Africa Day, marking the 62nd anniversary of the establishment, which was before known as Organization of African Unity, which is now known as the African Union. That's it for today, as I will bring you the latest world news in tomorrow's installation of International Affairs. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.